Welcome to our channel dedicated to navigating the intricate realm of female relationships. Here, we delve into the everyday challenges individuals encounter in their lives. Let's delve into today's video. To maintain anonymity and respect privacy, I'll employ a bit of discretion since I suspect the parties involved may frequent Reddit. So, we have a 28-year-old gentleman here who has been friends with his roommate, a 25-year-old female, since infancy, their families having been neighbors, facilitating their lifelong bond. She's akin to a little sister, a constant presence. Upon her graduation from college, she relocated to the same city where he's employed. Given her struggle to secure housing in proximity to her workplace, he generously offered her a place to stay. They split expenses and seamlessly transitioned into the roles of roommates. Their extensive history fostered an environment devoid of conflicts or disagreements. However, a recent development has added a peculiar twist to their dynamic. She became romantically involved with a colleague from her workplace. Though the gentleman's interactions with this individual were limited, they left a positive impression. Several months into their relationship, she approached him, expressing the need for a discussion. Initially, he assumed it pertained to household matters, perhaps an issue requiring attention. Yet, his assumptions were swiftly debunked. During their conversation, she revealed that her boyfriend harbored jealousy regarding her living arrangements, expressing discomfort with her cohabiting with another man. Initially dismissing it as a common insecurity, he offered his understanding and suggested she notify him when she intended to vacate the premises. To his surprise, she announced her intention to remain, proposing that he relinquish the apartment to accommodate her proximity to work. Now, the gentleman holds a deep affection for his current abode, appreciating its proximity to amenities and convenience. He outright refused her request, which led to her visible distress and accusations of egotism and lack of empathy. Subsequently, she withdrew into isolation within her quarters, only emerging for work or to accompany her now less than friendly boyfriend. Seeking validation and insight, the gentleman turned to Reddit, questioning whether his stance constituted him being in a hole. The community swiftly reassured him of his righteousness, highlighting the absurdity of her demands and the lack of gratitude for his hospitality and familial bond. Thus, the consensus emerged: he is not the one in the wrong. Let's delve into this situation with a fresh perspective, shall we? So, the boyfriend has piped in, claiming it's her place and she's doing the original poster a massive favor by letting him crash there. Quite the turn of events, isn't it? Now, here's the kicker. Why isn't she shacking up at her boyfriend's place? It seems rather odd that she's adamant about sticking around, doesn't it? Why don't they, the friend and her beau, find a cozy little nest of their own instead of trying to oust someone who graciously offered her sanctuary? Trust me, karma has a way of circling back, and this could very well come back to haunt her. Take my older brother's scenario, for instance. He graciously allowed our younger brother to crash at his place after a job mishap. But you know what happened? The younger brother spun a tale, telling his girlfriend and even our parents that the house was his, and he was merely assisting our older brother. Fast forward to the wedding bells with his now wife, and everything came crashing down. Perhaps the original poster needs to assert his rightful place, reminding the roommate, in her boyfriend's presence if need be, that he's the one with his name on the lease. He extended a friendly hand when she needed it, but that doesn't mean he's keen on uprooting his life. Not the ego here, folks. It's her problem if she can't come to terms with the living arrangement. Let's break it down further. She's the one grappling with the living situation, not the original poster. If her new flame is so bothered by her cohabiting with him, then he should extend an invitation for her to shack up at his place. It's as simple as that. She's being unreasonable, selfish even. He opened his doors to her, and if she's not keen on sharing space anymore, well, she knows where the door is. Friendship should be reciprocal, not a one-way street of demands and entitlement. So, our original poster, stand your ground. Don't let her guilt trip you into surrendering your home. Now, let's delve deeper into the issue of empathy and ego. Your roommate's accusations seem to be unfounded and driven by her own self-interest. It's essential to challenge her baseless claims and ask for clarification on how it could possibly be considered egotistical for you to remain in your own apartment. The truth is, there's no rational explanation because it's simply not egotistical. It's your rightful place of residence. You've already demonstrated empathy by accommodating her living situation and expressing understanding of her predicament. However, there comes a point where accommodating her demands becomes unreasonable, especially when it requires you to append your own life to suit her whims. It's important to recognize that empathy is a two-way street, and her insistence on displacing you from your home reflects a lack of empathy on her part. It's time to assert your boundaries and stand up for yourself. Give her a reasonable notice to vacate and make it clear that you won't allow her ego trip to cloud your judgment or dictate your living arrangements. Remember, your friendship predates her relationship with her boyfriend, and you shouldn't have to sacrifice your own comfort and stability for the sake of her convenience. By taking a firm stance and asserting your rights as a tenant and a friend, you're reclaiming control of the situation and refusing to be manipulated or guilt-tripped into making unreasonable concessions. It's essential to prioritize your own well-being and not allow yourself to be taken advantage of in this situation. Let's shift gears for a moment and address a different tale. My 29-year-old sister reached out, asking if I could babysit her kids on Thursday and Friday afternoons. Naturally, I agreed. I adore my niece and nephew, and spending time with them is always a joy. Plus, it's a fantastic opportunity to bond with her husband's children. But here's where it gets interesting. When it's outrageous to expect someone to take care of children they haven't agreed to babysit, especially when it's sprung on them at the last minute. This wasn't a small oversight. It was a significant breach of trust and respect. Your sister's husband had no right to impose this on you, and his behavior was completely unacceptable. It's commendable that you've been helping out with babysitting for the past 3 years, but there are boundaries that should be respected, especially when it comes to additional children from different family dynamics. Your discomfort with babysitting on the husband's parenting time is entirely valid, particularly given your history with his ex-partner. It's essential to prioritize your own well-being and avoid potential conflicts or complications that could arise from getting involved in their drama. Your sister may be understandably hurt by your decision to drop out of babysitting duties, but it's crucial to communicate your boundaries and stand firm in protecting your own peace of mind. Your sister's husband's reaction, labeling you as the a-hole for refusing to babysit on such short notice, is not only unfounded but also dismissive of your feelings and boundaries. It's essential to assert yourself in situations where your comfort and well-being are compromised, and his attempt to guilt-trip you is manipulative and unfair. By standing firm in your decision and making it clear that you won't tolerate being taken advantage of or manipulated, you're asserting your autonomy and self-respect. It's crucial to communicate assertively and assert your boundaries to prevent further instances of being put in uncomfortable positions. Moreover, it's important to address the underlying issue of boundary crossing and manipulation in your relationship with your sister's husband. Open and honest communication can help clarify expectations and ensure that your boundaries are respected in the future. Ultimately, asserting yourself in this situation is not about being confrontational or aggressive, but rather about advocating for your own well-being and refusing to be treated unfairly. Your feelings and boundaries deserve to be respected, and it's essential to stand up for yourself in situations where they are disregarded or dismissed. In summary, you are not the a-hole in this situation. You were put in a difficult position by your sister's husband's actions, and it's crucial to prioritize your own well-being and boundaries. Your decision to step back from babysitting duties was entirely justified, given the circumstances, and you deserve to be respected and supported in setting boundaries that protect your peace of mind. Now, some might say I'm the a-hole for not supporting my niece's actions, but hear me out. Yes, I understand her intentions were good, and she wanted to fight for workers' rights, but the way she went about it had serious consequences. It wasn't just me who lost their job. Several of my colleagues faced the same fate. You see, working in a meat company isn't exactly a walk in the park. It's grueling, the hours are long, and the pay isn't always fair. But for many of us, including myself, it's a means to an end. I have 3 kids to provide for, and my husband's shoulders can only carry so much. So when my niece, who comes from a well-off family and only wanted a job for some extra pocket money, decided to stir up trouble, it put us in a difficult position. I tried to reason with her to explain that while her intentions were noble, her actions could have serious repercussions for people like me, who rely on this job to make ends meet. But she was adamant, and in the end, her crusade led to the loss of my job, among others. Now, I'm not saying she's solely responsible for what happened, but her actions certainly played a significant role. It's a tough situation all around. On one hand, I sympathize with my niece's desire to fight for what's right. On the other hand, I can't help but feel the weight of the consequences her actions had on me and my colleagues. I suppose what's done is done, but it's left me feeling torn and uncertain about the future. While it's unfortunate that her actions led to consequences for you and others, it's essential to recognize the broader context here. Your niece was standing up against workplace toxicity and advocating for workers' rights, which is commendable. Now, I understand your frustration and the impact it's had on your livelihood. Losing a job is never easy, especially when it's due to circumstances beyond your control. However, directing blame towards your niece might not be fair or productive. She was acting on principle, driven by a desire to address injustices in the workplace. Your response to your niece, while understandably fueled by emotions in light of the situation, presents an opportunity for deeper reflection and constructive dialogue. It's crucial to recognize the complexities of the circumstances and approach the matter with a sense of perspective and understanding. Instead of resorting to a blame game or harboring resentment, consider opening up a meaningful conversation with your niece. As a young individual navigating the realities of the world, she may not fully grasp the extent of the consequences of her actions. This experience could serve as a valuable lesson for her, shedding light on the far-reaching impacts of her decisions. Encourage an environment of open communication and empathy, where both parties can express their perspectives and concerns. By fostering understanding and mutual respect, you can help your niece comprehend the gravity of her actions and the importance of considering the broader implications of her choices. Ultimately, this experience presents an opportunity for growth and learning, not just for your niece but for everyone involved. By approaching the situation with patience, empathy, and a willingness to engage in constructive dialogue, you can navigate through the challenges and emerge with a deeper understanding and strengthened relationships. As for your brother's perspective, it's understandable that he would defend his daughter. Family dynamics can be complicated, especially when differing viewpoints come into play. However, it's essential to separate personal relationships from the broader ethical considerations at hand. Ultimately, there are no clear-cut holes in this situation. The real issue lies with the company's unethical practices and the systemic challenges within the meat industry. While the consequences may be difficult to swallow, your niece's actions were driven by a sense of justice and integrity. It's a complex situation with no easy answers, but perhaps it can serve as a catalyst for positive change in the long run. You did the right thing by thoroughly examining the contract and pointing out its flaws. It's concerning that the agency's terms were so skewed against her, essentially limiting her potential while maximizing their own benefits. Your stepdaughter made an informed decision not to sign, which speaks volumes about her intelligence and autonomy. As for the fallout with her father and your wife, it's understandable that they might feel some resentment or disappointment. However, your intentions were pure. You were looking out for your stepdaughter's best interests. It's not about upstaging anyone or causing a rift in the family. It's about ensuring that she doesn't get taken advantage of and has the opportunity to thrive on her own terms. Your stepdaughter's autonomy and independence should be celebrated, not stifled. If she's found a way to support herself doing what she loves, that's something to be encouraged and supported. It's natural for parents to worry about their children's future, but ultimately, it's her decision to make. Your relationship with her father may be strained, but it's essential to stand by your principles and advocate for what you believe is right. It's not about personal vendettas or animosity. It's about looking out for the well-being of your stepdaughter. In the long run, she'll appreciate your support and guidance, even if it means navigating some rocky family dynamics along the way. You weren't actively seeking to stir up trouble or meddle in affairs that didn't concern you. Rather, you were simply responding to her request for guidance. This demonstrates your integrity and commitment to supporting her best interests. The fact that both parents appear to be complacent with the idea of a company taking advantage of her is indeed troubling. It raises questions about their priorities and whether they're truly looking out for their daughter's well-being. Your stepdaughter's decision not to sign the contract reflects her autonomy and discernment in recognizing when she's being offered an unfair deal. Regarding her father's reaction, it's understandable to wonder about his motivations, especially given his strong response to your involvement. Perhaps there were underlying factors or incentives at play that influenced his stance on the matter. Regardless, your stepdaughter is an adult capable of making her own decisions, and she shouldn't be pressured to comply with her father's wishes if they conflict with her own values and interests. Similarly, while your wife may have reservations about her daughter being self-employed, it's ultimately not her decision to make. Parents can offer guidance and support, but they shouldn't dictate their child's career path. Your stepdaughter has the right to pursue her own aspirations and chart her own course in life, independent of her parents' preferences. In summary, you acted with integrity and goodwill in providing your stepdaughter with honest advice. Her decision not to sign the contract reflects her autonomy and agency as an adult. While there may be tensions within the family as a result, it's essential to prioritize her well-being and autonomy above all else.